All right, it's week 6. Rams and Ravens in Baltimore. Welcome back to Between the Horns, presented by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm JB Long with Super Bowl champion D'Marco Farr, and making his first appearance, I think, in the regular season on this show.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Stu Jackson, what's up?
Stu,
Welcome
I thought
back,
this
buddy.
was number 2.
Good to have you in the program.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Because I noticed the shoes before. This is his second. See? Come on now.
All right, I messed up.
There you go.
Should we start over or just keep going?
No, audible. Let's
Keep
go.
going.
Yeah.
How was your mini bye, guys? How was your weekend away?
Good. I mean, hard because you lost the last time out. Can't wait for Sunday so you can, go back and get this bad taste out of your mouth. But, not bad watching the tape, going back through it again. There's a lot of good stuff on there. I know you didn't get the result you wanted, and I know you lost to your most hated rival, but when you're breaking stuff down, there's a lot of positive. This team is getting better in certain areas.
I definitely had a hard time adhering to the 24-hour rule, I'll say, but it made it easier having a friend in town visiting and doing some stuff with that group over the weekend. So it's good.
I think, a salve maybe to have Seattle and Arizona implode late at home and kind of give you a couple back. It's interesting that the whole division goes on the road this week. The Rams are the only NFC West favorite away from home. So here's hoping that a victory Monday, if it's in store for the Rams, can turn things around pretty soon.
Does that make me petty? If I lose, I want everyone else to lose too?
No.
That makes me feel better?
What's that saying about misery loving company?
Yeah, okay. Well, there you go. All right.
Rams got some.
Yeah.
In terms of own it, fix it, where should we start? Is it ball security? Is it kicking woes? You pick your lane and tell us how the Rams are finally going to get right in these areas that, our fans have been all over them as real sore spots, and they've cost LA some games.
I would go kicking game. That's the easiest thing to fix, I think. Kyron and Blake Corum putting the ball on the ground. You're going to have to give them carries. We're all going to hold their breath. You're going to have to dig yourself out of that hole. That's one thing. You can't replace those two guys. Kyron will take carries, and so will Blake Corum. The kicking game, that's something that should be fixed. That shouldn't be an issue at this point. Like you said, week 6, and we're still talking about this. This is stuff you deal with in preseason going into week 1. It should not be an issue now. So, yeah, that to me is number 1. You have to fix what's going on there first. Because it doesn't matter if you're good on defense. It doesn't matter if you have an all-pro quarterback. If you're not good there in the third phase, you're going to lose football games or put your win in jeopardy week in and week out.
Yeah, 3 of the last 4 games have featured failures in that dimension. They got out of Tennessee with the win, but it's not unrealistic to say, and there's plenty of other things that have gone wrong for the Rams in their 2 losses, but it's not unrealistic to say that if either one of 2 kicking operations in Philadelphia or home at SoFi Stadium go the other direction, go between the pipes, this team is the last undefeated team in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree completely with D'Marco. I mean, when Sean McVay says that it's not just one thing with the kicking game that's the problem or the sore spot, that to me is the priority or the greater cause for concern. I mean, ball security issues, protect the ball better, concentrate better. But with the operation having the kicking operation having multiple issues, I think that's where I think I prioritize and put more of my attention.
I don't know if this makes it better or worse, but like you guys probably did, I revisited the 23 trip to Baltimore, and it helped me at least. I think the punting operation and punt covers in a much better spot, right?
Yeah.
With Ethan Evans having lost that game in overtime against a backup punt returner, even though there was a block in the back, but that's okay. That's between us. And then the other thing is, do you remember Lucas Havrasik was the kicker that day in Baltimore? And he actually made one to force overtime, but I don't want to revisit those times in terms of the kicking churn and the search for your next specialist. I think Cardi is the guy. He's done a lot of good, especially off the tee. I'll be curious to see how much squib kicking he does, or if the Rams make a change there, because it seems like there's some truth to the fact that maybe his kickoffs are impacting his place kicking.
I wonder if that's true. Yeah.
Well,
I wonder if that's true. Yeah.
I was say it was interesting because I think it was you asking Coach about it on the Coach McVay show
on
earlier
behalf
this
of McAfee.
week. Yeah, on behalf of McAfee, who was speculating that maybe the squib kicks and the mechanics with that are potentially causing some issues with Cardi and his kicks on field goals. And he said that's a fair observation to make. And so do wonder about that too, because Chase Blackburn, the last time he spoke to the media, he said that mechanically they were trying to make it so that there was little difference or to not have as much of an impact, but maybe that hasn't necessarily been the case, or it's gone in a direction that maybe they didn't expect in terms of how those mechanics have impacted that motion.
Yeah.
With the exception of one, the one that didn't make it to the green zone, drop zone, whatever it is, where you have to kick it, those knuckleballs have been wildly effective. You just cannot catch those cleanly and get on a dead run. So they've helped you. So I hope one doesn't affect the other, because that would stink if you have to get rid of one.
Yeah. 2 personnel questions, one on offense, one on defense. Maybe Stu knows the answer. That's kind of his role around here. Left guard. I think we've all kind of been waiting for Steve Avila to come back and take his job back. I will say Didich has put together his 2 best performances the last 2 times out. Do you know where the Rams are heading going to Baltimore at left guard?
Yeah, what Sean McVay has said is that, if Steve practices and plays the way he expects throughout this week, then he will earn his starting job back. I do give McVay credit for saying that, or going with continuity, I should say, in terms of, if you practice what you preach with competition and, you're doing what you think is best for the team, then with the way Didich has been playing, then that's what you're sticking with. But, at least from what I've seen in just, the one viewing period of practice that we've had to this point as of recording this, like it seems to be, trending in that direction. But again, there's still a couple more practices to go, and like McVay said, it's on Steve to ultimately show that.
I've labeled Didich the bouncer. He looks like a bouncer, and that's how he plays. He just runs people up out of there. It's so funny. I told people this before. When I played, I hated guards that look like him, the short, stocky guys, because low man wins, and he's already down here. It's kind of like Puka Nacua playing guard. It's the same thing. It drives you nuts. It drives everybody nuts. But Steve has girth. Steve is a big dude. You don't want Steve leaning on you for 4 quarters. That's why he's here. So I'm with you. I'm glad. Didich played his butt off. Go with continuity, but it is Steve's job. Give him a chance to win it back.
Let's go to defense next. And if I had told you leaving SoFi Stadium last Thursday night that Omar Speights had a high ankle and might be missing some time, would you have believed that? Did you see any sign of that? He played through it.
Watched every single snap.
Unreal.
When I heard it was you, I was reading you. Oh my God, Omar Speights is hurt. Wait a minute, let me go back and check the tape. Went through all. I think he had like 37 or played 38, whatever it was. Every single snap, even his last one, it looks like Omar Speights. When did he hurt himself? Did he slip getting off the bus, getting in a car? I don't know, but yeah, the dude is. He's getting better, and he's playing tough. You're not going to be 100% in the NFL, but what you have to do is suck it up and give your best to your teammates, and that's exactly what he did.
So if we were to crowdsource this one, Sean Dolak would make his Rams defensive debut in Baltimore next to Nate Landman. Is that the direction you think the Rams go, or how do they manage this?
Okay, I don't think the Rams... The coaching staff, the brain trust, I don't think they're avoiding Troy Reeder. That's not what they could care less what people think. But if you base it on preseason and how he played, if you're just going for a straight replacement, Nate Landman is the mic, he calls the plays. Omar Speights is the weak side backer, he's the free hitter, the whip, so to speak. Then your direct backup would be 56, and that's exactly how he played. So if he played anything like he played in the preseason, then there won't be much drop-off. He will be just as active as Omar Speights getting to the football.
There's also the option of promoting someone from the practice squad. We'll see what the rest of this week holds. Sean McVay has left that door open a couple of times, Stu.
Yeah, absolutely. He expressed confidence in Troy Reeder and Sean Dolak as options there. And like you mentioned, he said they've also got some candidates on the practice squad. But it was interesting. I did go back and read Chris Shula's comments from August when I asked him, like, how did essentially, like, what did Dolak do to make this team, or how did he earn it? And he said, contributions on special teams, but also, like, they would have no hesitation to put him out there on defense if they really needed to. To this point, they haven't, but that speaks to his readiness and preparedness and his strength as a possible candidate to go out there if Speights can't go.
Look, the personnel for the Ravens and their schematic probably plays heavily into the Rams' thinking. Again, as of this moment, I think we all agree Lamar is trending towards not playing week 6, right?
Yes.
The bye week beyond for Baltimore, so you could almost get him 2 weeks for the price of 1. Cooper Rush experience, not great last week. Maybe they go back to Snoop Huntley. We'll see. But that's kind of what the Rams are unknowingly preparing for this week. They do know they'll get Derrick Henry, and he's slumping a little bit in terms of his production, and I can't help but believe that has a lot to do with Lamar's hamstring and the fact that the best rushing quarterback the league's ever seen has not been his running mate lately.
Oh, yeah. Think of how much easier it is to defend Derrick Henry when you don't have to worry about Lamar Jackson getting out the back door. all four guys up front, plus the linebackers, can just flow to the ball and go to Derrick Henry. With Lamar Jackson, you have to dedicate someone, or even if it's not your job and he pulls that ball out, or you think he is, you have to honor that because he's as fast as anyone out there. So without him, different back, different scheme, different offense, same approach like they did last week. Just make Derrick Henry choke it down in the backfield. Don't let him get ahead of steam, because if he does, he's the juggernaut. But if you make him choke it down, that's a big target. Even for a guy as, I wouldn't say as small as Dolak, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but Derrick Henry's bigger than most. So if you make him choke it down, you have a bigger target to hit.
When Lamar's out there, it changes the math, especially in the box. And that his threat as a runner is in a lot of ways what you're talking about, impacts the ability for defenses to decide whether they have to commit to one or the other. And so I think you'd probably agree with this based on what you've seen on tape, but I would imagine that they've been able to commit more defenders to the box without the threat of Lamar there when he hasn't been out there, and that's made it a little bit more difficult for Derrick Henry to get going.
Not just run, arm too. Lamar is accurate. So if you're that backside safety, you may leave that guy one-on-one with the corner and go attack Derrick Henry. That's what's been happening. I wouldn't expect that to change this week.
Now, going back to last year, between the two Saquon games, the Rams defense was already improving at shutting down opponents' running attack, but I think year-over-year growth, it's been a dream storyline. You look at the gauntlet that they're running between Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey. Can they keep it up against the Ravens?
I think so, especially I just like the depth you have in the middle at defensive tackle. And I sound like a broken record, but Kobe Turner, you can pair him with Puna. You can pair him with Tyler Davis. You can pair him with Braden Fisk. There's so many different fronts you can throw out and keep guys fresh. Plus, your edge guys are playing like gangbusters. Byron Young is playing at a Pro Bowl level. Jared Verse picked up right where he left off. And there's a new guy in town in Josiah Stewart who looks like he's been here 10 years. So you have a lot of depth. You have a lot of wheels. You're very young. And they're playing great. They're playing technically sound up front. They're going through blockers. They're defeating people. They're not just running around jumping upfield. That carries. That travels. There's a reason they have slowed down and basically stopped three of the best backs in the league in a row. And now it's Derrick Henry's turn. So I think that will travel to Baltimore.
Absolutely. And I think, too, it speaks to the interchangeability of that group as well. That was something that Kobe Turner talked a lot about in terms of just that top four on along the defensive line in training camp, just with all the things it would allow them to do, especially Tyler Davis and the role he was going to have. And that's something that's shown up to me as well, especially against the run.
Oh, and by the way, I see you, Kobe, when you're trying to politic for a sack. You know that was Byron. Go ahead. Get out there first. Get your name in the paper. Yeah.
Don't know. Did you guys check the forecast yet? Always a fool's errand to predict weather or to talk about it on a Thursday before a Sunday game, but it looks like the conditions will be reminiscent of our 2023 trip to the Inner Harbor, if not identical, D'Marco.
If you're going on the road to the AFC North, expect bad weather, right? So like I said, one of you guys is taking my rain shoes. Yes, thank you.
Puka going to wear gloves? Or going to tape up the fingers?
Dude, he is – look, it's too late. He is a superstar. Puka Nacua is a bona fide superstar in the National Football League. You know him, you cheer for him, and he gives it to you on game day. He's a physical receiver. He is your number one right now. When Matthew Stafford drops back, his first read is him. And then based off that, I'll go other places. But Puka is the guy you jam the ball to, and I think he's more than earned that.
I think he's also the most improved Ram, maybe the most improved player in the league, which is hard to say because he set such a high bar as a rookie, and then despite missing some time last year, should have been an All-Pro again in year two because he was that much dramatically better. But you can measure in all sorts of ways. Catch rate, lack of drops, catch transition, yards after catch, getting in the end zone these last couple of games. Because he was so good so early, I think we rob him of his respect with the work he's done, the lonely, quiet, off-field work to get better in year three and really to join that upper echelon.
As complete of a receiver as there is in the NFL right now. Maybe the most complete, I would argue, just in terms of run blocking, when they put the ball in his hands on some of those sweeps, what he's asked to do, obviously, in the pass game and just all the different routes he can run. To me, he's making a strong case early on for our Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, there are obviously many other players who are in that conversation too, and that's not to discredit them, but just from what I've seen, these first 5 weeks, it's hard to put anyone above him right now. in my opinion.
And related, I think part of what's been so infuriating about the Rams' 2 losses so far is not just their self-inflicted nature, but coloring our thinking with the fact that we know the Rams have the best quarterback in the NFC right now. The 5 games he's played so far have been MVP worthy. And so it's so aggravating to not be 5-0 when he's putting these types of games together.
This is crazy for me. Okay, so Stafford is on a heater, right? Stafford is at the top. He's top 3 in yards and all this stuff. But I actually think he could play better. I do.
Say more.
I think there's more there for him. They haven't really figured out this Davante Adams thing. When that starts to click, there's a whole nother level there. There's still moments in games where the offense just kind of goes stagnant for a while and he'll miss. Then he'll make it up and finish like gangbusters, like I said. So he's playing great and he's the best quarterback in the NFC, no doubt. I'm right there with you. But I think he can actually play better than what he's playing. I really do. And when that starts to happen, that's when things start to roll.
You're right. Davante Adams, despite all the good he's done through 5 games, is enduring the lowest catch rate of his career. So you think that's going to progress to the mean over time. And
Absolutely.
with more time on task, if Stafford's running backs hang on to the football a little bit better, his numbers are certainly better. Mm-hmm. If and when they get more out of their tight end room, including Terrence Ferguson, who caught his first pass as a pro. Mm-hmm. What's that mean?
That means bingo.
Bingo. Yeah. More isn't always better, right? Like having more options is not always going to translate to bigger stats, but I think it will continue to mean good things for Matthew Stafford, like you're saying.
Yes, I think he's all the way back. No pun intended.
Okay.
Try the veal.
I'll laugh.
Way to pay that off. I don't think, tell me if you disagree, I don't think the Rams overlooked the Niners last week. Do you?
No. I think the Niners played great ball.
They were slow starters on defense. They were not ready for prime time on defense. Those first couple of possessions, they were able to tighten the screws from there. But I don't think it was for lack of respect. If for some reason it was, message received, they won't do it again this week against a depleted Baltimore group, right?
I hope not. I'm with you. I thought San Francisco played better than most people thought. Mac Jones played better than most people thought. And we said this leading into the week when we were talking about their injury report. Christian McCaffrey is good enough to beat you by himself. So you have to respect that. As long as he's out there, they're still a legit threat. But, yeah, I'll give you that. The Rams' defense kind of they woke up late. But once they did, they were great.
They were punishing.
They were absolutely punishing. And they gave you a shot to win the game. So if you start the game the way you finished it, absolutely. If you hold on to the rock, it's a W. So let's hope that all that stuff, you left it here in SoFi.
Am I misremembering, or was Baltimore like the favorite to win not just the division, but maybe a ring this summer, right? They had built maybe the best roster in football. And I know it's depleted. What was it? 6 guys with all pro honors and
on defense,
tens of millions of dollars inactive last week.
Crazy amount of Pro Bowls and cap space absent.
But if any opponent should recognize and respect what a 1-4 team with a championship roster and aspirations is capable of in any given moment, it's the Los Angeles Rams. They were just in these cleats a year ago, and look what the Rams were able to do. So let this not be the week for Baltimore's comeback, I guess is what I'm saying.
I don't think Harbaugh's giving up, do you?
No.
I don't think Baltimore is going to give up. I think they're going to keep fighting. Mark Andrews isn't going to forget how to play football, and Derrick Henry isn't going to shrink just because they're 1-4. If anything, they're going to be better. So, it doesn't matter who's out there. You have to play your best game.
It's like Sean McVay said, that's a prideful team led by a prideful head coach. Like, there's no way they let that pass.
But what's the feeling when you see a team like Houston, who you beat, and you know the state that the Texans offense started the year, and if not is in currently, put up like a record number of points at M&T Bank Stadium. You know the state of this defense. Baltimore used to be the best defense in the league for multiple years. Now they're the consensus worst. You walk in there feeling like you should score 40, but that's a dangerous place to be. That's tough to sleep on.
It is. I feel good about my chances, don't you? I mean, if you beat a team that just, kick the what out of them, you feel good about your chances, but
that's not how this game works.
You have to boil it down. Yeah. We have to play our best game, and we have to bring it to Baltimore first. Yeah. And then if they do, sure, yeah, I agree with you. If you beat them, then you should beat them as bad, but it doesn't work that way in the NFL.
And then the Rams are going to stay in Baltimore, practice at Camden Yards, I read, and get their work in for London and Jacksonville beyond. We mentioned this earlier, but it might be worth visiting a little bit more closely here. All 4 NFC West teams on the road. San Francisco at Tampa Bay, Seattle at Jacksonville, Arizona at Indy. The Rams competition, road dogs this week.
I'm a big Baker fan. I'm even more a Baker fan right now. Take it to him. Who's Seattle have again?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Man, look, Jacksonville is no joke. Jacksonville might be for real. Way to go, Liam Cohen. Yes, sir. So, yeah, I hope that the rest of the West gets beat up and we come out of Baltimore with the only win in the division this weekend. That'd be nice.
Other closing thoughts, keys to victory, anything that we didn't get to that you want to make sure that you get out?
Just remember, man, I mean, like, Kyron Williams is one of your best players, period, end of story. And if we could fix it, if he could fix it, if they could fix it, they would. But there's no way he's not going to take another, like, you can't bench the guy. He's your starting tailback. You're going to have to give him carries. He's going to have to be better. I think he knows that. But just the one thing is you've got to fix what's ailing you in the third phase in the kicking game. That should have been the first thing that was fixed. So maybe that's gone on a little bit too long. So we'll see. Hopefully that gets fixed in Baltimore. It's always tricky down there, especially on special teams. So we'll see. It's a great test.
You remember how Sean McVay called the first drive of the last trip to Baltimore?
Pow! Right down the middle. Yes. Gut punch, gut punch, gut punch. Yes.
I wonder if they don't run it back this week.
Like to see a replay. Why not?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think, too, that would go a long way with avoiding some of the self-inflicted mistakes that cost them last week and being able to control the time of possession better. That's something that, I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out this week. I think the way the 49ers controlled the time of possession last week had a lot to do with making the margins so thin in terms of, again, some of those, instances where there were those self-inflicted mistakes. And so you avoid those and you do a better job of controlling time and possession. I think you can, reach the potential of, like you were talking about, a game like the Texans had last week against Baltimore.
It's interesting that you called back to that time of possession, which I'm of the mind that typically it's an overrated football stat. But when you're playing San Francisco, we've seen that before. We know how consequential that is. And I almost take consolation from that. And I'm optimistic that the Rams could have and should have won that game, even though it started the way it did. Because there were previous iterations of this team and of that rivalry where you start a game like that against Kyle Shanahan, San Francisco, it's over. You're on to the next week.
3-score loss, yeah.
That's not how Thursday Night Football went. It didn't finish the way we would have liked, but that's an interesting callback by you, Stu. I'm going to feel better about that.
Because there you go. Of you. Yeah, see, way to leave on a high note, Stu. There you go.
For senior staff writer Stu Jackson, who may or may not have made his first appearance this season. We'll have to check it. We'll check Pro Football Reference. But either way, come back soon and come back often.
Yes,
and
sir.
D'Marco Farr, who's here every week. I'm JB Long, wishing you a good rest of your week. Looking forward to back-to-back road trips. First to Baltimore, then to London. We'll talk to you next time on Between the Horns, presented by your Southern California Toyota dealers.